One of the most important realities about success is that it can only be defined from person to person. This is because the definition of success is contingent upon purpose. Since purpose may differ from one person to the next, so will success. If you notice the graphic on our course homepage, one definition of success is a favorable or desired outcome. The key word here is desire. We all have different desires. To some people in this class, the accumulation of wealth is their desire. To others of you, wealth is not so important. You may not make as much money as the aforementioned group, but your desire may be to develop the skills necessary to impact your community. Then there are those of you who have your heart set on raising a family. Now here's a question for you. Of these three groups of people, which would you say is the most successful group? Well, the answer would generally depend upon who decided to be in which group and whether they actually accomplished that goal, because success is always contingent upon purpose. For example, Michael Jordan retired from the NBA in the prime of his career after winning 3 back-to-back-to-back championships, and he went on to ultimately pursue a career in baseball. Statistically speaking, his baseball accomplishments paled in comparison to what he achieved in the game of basketball, leading many to call his baseball career an absolute failure. If it were only about the statistics, they would have been correct. But what if I told you that Michael Jordan choosing to play baseball was never about the stats? What if Jordan, after the sudden death of his father, who was actually Jordan's Little League baseball coach, simply chose to play the game of baseball to pay homage to his deceased father?
After the third championship, my father kept kind of hinting towards me playing baseball. Stop playing basketball. Why don't you give your baseball a shot? Because that's what he actually got me started playing. When I was 6 years old, I played baseball, and he felt that I could play baseball and do it with the same conviction and attitude that I played basketball.
Every day, the first person there before the sun would be Jordan. And he was there because he wasn't good. He
Trying, man.
What it did teach me was don't be afraid to try. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't pan out the way that you envision it. But at least you know that by giving it a shot.
You see, when you have an established purpose for why you do what you do, it allows you to obtain a measure of success even when the results look like failure to the rest of the world. When you have an established purpose, you never lose. As Nelson Mandela once said, you either win or you learn. When you think of purpose, think about your why. Why did Jordan play baseball? Why are you in college? Why are you choosing this particular degree path? Why did you choose this particular school at Southern University? Now, you may not be able to answer all of these questions right at this moment, and that's okay. But as time progresses, your objective should involve being able to do so, being able to answer the question of why, because it's your why, your purpose, that will ultimately be able to determine whether or not you are successful. Once a purpose is established and you know where you're going, a strategy needs to be formed. A strategy is the course of action that has been accepted as the path you will take towards the fulfillment of your purpose. This begins with an open and honest evaluation of where you are at the moment. It will always be extremely difficult to get to where you want to be, your purpose, if you don't begin with evaluating where you are. For example, GPS systems such as Apple Maps and Google Maps, they can give you the directions to any location in the world, including how long it will take you to arrive. Yet, as fascinating and precise as many of these directions are, what is the very first thing you have to do in order to even get these directions? You have to input your current location. If you put in a different location than where you actually are, the directions and the arrival time may change. There must be an open and honest evaluation of where you are if you're going to get the proper directions to where you're trying to be. It's the same way in life, it's the same way in college, it's the same way in pretty much any endeavor you undertake. But in order for you to get to where you're trying to go, there must be an open and honest evaluation of where you are right now. In the business world, there is something known as a SWOT analysis. And this SWOT analysis is oftentimes conducted in order to give businesses a true, open, and honest look at where they are at the moment so that they can improve their product or improve their service or just improve their overall existence as a business. The SWOT analysis is an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges. A strength is a state of being able to perform a specific action very well, especially in a particular situation. Now, whether you realize it or not, or whether you acknowledge it or not, all of us have a strength in a certain area. All of us do something well. We all have the ability to do something that makes us special, that makes us unique, that sets us apart from everybody else, especially when that strength is used in the right environment. Some strengths are dependent upon setting, which simply means that in certain settings, a strength may not be viewed as a strength, but in the right setting, where it is needed and appreciated, that's when a strength is maximized at its greatest capacity. For example, in the NFL as well as the NBA, there's a particular period of the year known as free agency. It is when players get the opportunity to either decide to remain on the team that they're currently with or sign with another team. The smarter players typically don't make this decision based off where they want to go or who they want to play with. They make this decision based off a word known as scheme, whether it's a defensive scheme or an offensive scheme. The players understand that if they're going to produce at their highest capacity, it would be wise for them to play for a team and play with teammates that give them the opportunity to do what they do well. If you want to develop a true strategy to get you from where you are to where you're trying to be, you must be able to identify your strengths. What is it that you do well? And what environments would allow you to do them at your highest capacity? A weakness is defined as an area of powerlessness revealed. A weakness is defined as an area of powerlessness revealed by an inability to act. It suggests that a situation presented itself that called for a specific action in which you were incapable of performing in or meeting the standards of. As difficult as it is for many people to accept, all of us have weaknesses. Just like all of us have strengths, which are areas that we perform well in, all of us also have areas that we don't perform so well in. And that's totally okay, because that's one of the things that allows the world to go around in the fashion that it does, allowing all of us to need each other's strengths. Because our weaknesses should never be used as an excuse not to succeed. There are one of two things that you should look to do with your weaknesses: either improve them or compensate for them. There are some weaknesses you have that you can actually improve that you can actually invest time or treasure in order to make yourself better in that particular area. However, there are also weaknesses that we really can't afford time or treasure to invest in, so we simply need to find other people who are strong in those areas. Opportunities are moments that will allow you to utilize your strengths in order to help you overcome your challenges. For every area that you have strengths in, you will be presented with opportunities that you can take and maximize your strengths in order to help you get to where it is that you've purposed yourself out to be. These opportunities may not come at your leisure. They may not put you in a position where you can comfortably take advantage of them. They may even pull you out of your comfort zone and cause you to devote a level of time and effort that you would otherwise spend doing something else. Nevertheless, if you are gifted and you have the strengths to do a particular thing, opportunities will come across that will open the door for you to be able to show off your strengths. Challenges are external threats that have the potential to prevent you from accomplishing your goals and arriving at your destination. These challenges are elements that are usually beyond your personal effort. You typically can't control these types of challenges. Therefore, you must prepare and equip yourself to overcome them. Remember, in life, you will always face certain things that you didn't plan for, that you didn't calculate, that you didn't expect to happen. Even though we are developing a strategic plan, things will always happen outside of your plan that will make you question your plan. But your challenges are not meant for you to forfeit your plan. Your challenges are usually meant for you to reevaluate your plan or readjust your plan so you can still arrive at the fulfillment of the purpose you've set yourself out to achieve. When you take a moment to evaluate your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities that are in front of you, as well as the challenges that you may face, it will give you a good idea of what you need to do. It will give you a great pattern for you to formulate a strategy to help you arrive at the purpose for which you are engaged in a particular activity. Your strategic plan may not be perfect. There may be some things you ultimately leave out, but it still gives you something as to how you're going to move from where you are to where you need to be.